Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Inspiration Series. I'm so excited to have on today Grace Van Berkum, all the way from Nicaragua, but she is a Toronto native. Hi, Grace.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to have you and to hear more about, really, it sounds from reading your bio, and I'm going to let you tell us more about who you are, but it really sounds as though you're on a mission to help people transform themselves in an effort to transform the planet, correct?
Exactly. I discovered many years ago, probably around 20 years ago, that I was so passionate about helping others and helping people change their lives. I come from a background of not being healthy and having high anxiety and depression and eating disorders. I grew up in foster homes to the age of 10, so I dealt with a lot of abuse.
Wow.
And I have been on a road to healing myself. And once, after nutrition school, when I learned so much about nutrition and doing my yoga teacher training and all, learning all these things to help heal myself, I really knew that the reason why I went through so much pain in my life was to overcome it and then teach people what I've learned. So I know, I actually gave myself goosebumps because I know that I'm on, I know this is my path, and I am dedicated. Anyone who knows me knows how dedicated I am to just helping others. And I personally never want to feel that pain of depression or being suicidal ever again, or being sick or confused or lost like I used to be. And I don't want anybody else to feel that. So, I created this wellness center 4 years ago to help others who wanted help, because I know not everybody wants help either. So there's lots of different things that we do here in an effort to help people transform their lives and recalibrate their lives.
Can I ask a little bit more about how you transitioned from life in 10 years in a foster home? And then, obviously you said you went through abuse and suicide and eating disorders. What was the first step that you took on your wellness journey? How did you find what shifted all of that for you?
Well, I mean, I wasn't in a foster home till age of 10. I was in and out. So I was in foster homes in total.
Yeah, that's very chaotic upbringing, right?
Yes. A lot of uncertainties and confusion as to what was happening and why it was happening and what was wrong with me as a child that I had to experience these things. I'm
just going to pause you for a second there, because that's really fascinating that you said that. In your head, it was what was wrong with me that I had to go through that.
Yeah, as a child, you just want to be loved. As an adult, we just want to be loved, but especially as a child, when the world is so new and you just kind of wonder, like, why is this parental figure being mean to me? Why is this other adult being mean to me? What is happening? Why am I with the police? Why am I in a foster home? There's so many things coming up, and as a child, you take that on yourself and you think everything is your fault.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, it's fascinating that the child brain does that, right?
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. The Wi-Fi is a little bit delayed. But what else is fascinating is that, like, if we don't heal these things as children, they come into our adult lives. So this has been with me most of my young adult life until I was ready to address it. And on some level, there might always be elements of this coming up in my life when I struggle with things. So I always have to remind myself, what I've done to heal these things. It doesn't go away completely ever, but you get better with loving yourself, and you get better at dealing with your pains.
Yeah. I hear you, sister. I'm on the same path. Can you tell us a little bit more? I'd love to know what was like the first healing modality that you found, and a little bit about sort of that path for you, because I think that's really important.
Yeah. So, my very first addiction was sugar addictions at a very young age. Starting at 4 years old, I would literally consume anything that was high in sugar to get myself high, to numb myself from the abuse that was happening. So I would drink like literally bottles of corn syrup at 4 years old and bags of brown sugar. I had this game where I would put bags of brown sugar in a bowl and put water in there and eat it like brown sugar soup. Like, this is, crazy. But anything to get high so that I could have like this invisible force shield. And that was my survival skill as a 4-year-old. And that continued as I got older. And then from there, my sugar addictions turned to overeating addictions. So I was an emotional eater, anything to numb the pain. From there, as I got older, I realized that I couldn't keep eating all this food in secret all the time and not gain weight. Like, people were starting to notice, like, oh, you're starting to gain weight. So then I started throwing my food up or starving myself. So my career of eating disorders started. From there, I went into drug and alcohol addictions in my 20s. And I did copious amounts of drugs, anything to numb the pain again, never sleeping and, partying. And then I hit rock bottom. And then I hit another rock bottom, and then I hit another rock bottom, and each rock bottom was getting worse. And I kind of just woke up one day and my health was very poor. I couldn't recognize myself in the mirror. I was not behaving in a way that I was proud of. And by the grace of God, I had the realization, like, if you don't change your life right now, you're going to die. And if you don't die, you're just going to lead a miserable life. You can't keep running. And for me, I was really scared to get sober at that time because I was scared to go back to this horrible relationship with food. And I knew, Indira, sorry, I knew that if I didn't heal my relationship with food, I was going to be miserable. So after hitting a couple of rock bottoms, I prayed to God, I surrendered, and I'm not even religious, but when I'm, in that situation, it's kind of like, what do I do? Where do I go? And I feel like the greatest answers come when you surrender like that, and the universe, will give you what you need when suddenly you're open to possibilities of something else that you never thought of. And one thing led to another. I found nutrition school. And I thought, man, like, this is amazing. I can learn how to eat. Like, my whole entire life being addicted to food, being at the mercy of food, having such low self-esteem and body and health issues, I can learn how to eat. Like, wow, this would be great. And that kind of started my path to healing. I sobered up, thought nutrition school was amazing. I was like, when I graduated from it, holistic nutrition school, I was like, oh my God, the world needs to know this. I cannot believe that people don't know how to eat. So I was very passionate about trying to help people. And then 6 years later, I moved into my yoga training, and that was just a whole other level of healing. So basically, my rock bottoms taught me that I needed to, it wasn't just about the eating disorders or the drugs. It was more of, why did I hate myself so much that I couldn't give myself good things? So I really had to go back to the memories of my childhood and figure out, why I hated myself and how I could forgive my abuser, how I could forgive myself. And it's been this journey of self-love, and nutrition and yoga and, other things have been helpful for me to learn how to love myself.
Beautiful. Thank you so, so much for sharing so vulnerably your truth. You can see how authentic it is. And I have so many questions, but the first question that sort of intuitively I've been calling to ask is, why do you think so many women loathe their bodies? Like, loathe. I use the word loathe. And why? Why is it innate in women? Like, that's the question I want to start with.
Can you just repeat that quickly? It just cut out when you were in the middle of the sentence.
No problem. I want to know why you think so many women hate their body.
Well, I mean, we're bombarded with images everywhere, right? We're magazines, TV, we see all these beautiful supermodels and we're told that is what we're supposed to look like. And we're not taught to embrace our natural shapes. We're not taught self-love in school. We're not taught how to love ourselves. And I think a lot of women honestly have eating disorders or, eating disorders and poor body issues because we've learned it from our mothers, and I work a lot with eating disorder women or people who hate their bodies, and a lot of it is just learned behavior. And it's not to say I'm blaming mothers, but our mothers probably learned it from their mothers, and it's just it's our duty as more conscious adults to go back to our childhoods and figure out where we've been programmed in a wrong way, and not being hateful about it, but just realizing as well, our parents just did the best they could too, right? Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of stuff is ingrained in us. And, for me, I know that a lot of my poor body image and emotional eating, I watched my mother do it all the time. So that I learned that how you deal with painful emotions is you overeat all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, interesting. And how can women, if they have struggled, their whole lives with, what I see as a naturopath, I've worked with women for so many years, and I see very few women comfortable in their bodies. That's number one, very few. And I see very few women who have a good relationship with food. Like you said, like I had this horrible relationship with food. So many women, it's like they're afraid of food. They don't know what to eat. There's so much varying information, especially now in the wellness world, right? This is good. This isn't. But despite all the information, how can we start to feel comfortable in our own bodies?
Right. So we need first of all to appreciate our bodies right now. It's not about like, oh, my life will be better, or I'll be happier when I lose 5 pounds or 10 pounds, or, it's like, what can we love and appreciate right now? We have to learn to love ourselves and love our bodies. And that's a hard thing to do. And I know, because I had so much self-hatred towards my own body and myself. But it is possible. And, expressing gratitude for our health and what is good right now. And then, being an emotional eater too, I know what it's like to, like starve yourself all day, tell yourself like, oh, I need to lose weight. And then, at the end of the day, you can't do it. And you overeat, right? You overeat. And then you get so upset with yourself. And then you say, okay, I'll try again tomorrow. And it becomes this vicious cycle of negativity and perpetuating low self-worth and low self-esteem. So I think even just on a physical level, we need to learn how to balance our blood sugars. And we need to embrace good fats too. I see so many women who are like, even in my wellness center, we serve a lot of good fats here. And in the beginning, people are like, oh my God, I don't know, like if I can eat this fat, but the fat is what's going to satiate us and help us start to eat less actually, and to, speed up our metabolism. And I think those are two major things, is like balancing blood sugar and embracing good fats, and then learning to love yourself today, right now.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Can you talk about how you got to Nicaragua and how your journey took you there?
Yeah. So on my, I started my journey of healing in Toronto. I went to nutrition school. I was my business was really starting to boom as a new nutritionist. I was working a lot in gyms, doing holistic nutrition with fitness clients. And then I just kind of woke up one day, and for me, I just came to the realization, like, do I want to live in Toronto my whole life? Like, do I want to live in condos? Do I want to do winter? And I came to the realization, I'm like, I'm going to break up with winter. And that's how it started. This is 2009, or end of 2009. I sold everything I owned. And I decided I was going to move to Southeast Asia, actually. And then Costa Rica kept playing in my mind. And I thought, I need to check out Costa Rica first. And if I don't like Costa Rica, then I'll make my way to Cyprus.
Hold on 1 second. Sorry.
No worries.
Thank you. Sorry, keep going.
Yep. To make a long story short, I found I got offered a job in Nicaragua just for 2 months, just before I was about to do my journey to Central America. And I remember saying, Nicaragua, I don't want to go to Africa. Like somebody offered me, my friend of a friend told me about this job, and my friend was like, Grace, oh my goodness, look at the map. So I looked at the map and I thought, okay, great, I have this job in Nicaragua just for a few months, then I'll make my way to Costa Rica or Panama. Yeah. And I fell in love with the country. It's so diverse and beautiful, and nobody was doing health retreats here. Wow. Like nobody at all. And I thought, how amazing. So I started doing like yoga served vegan retreats. And then at that time I became a traveling business. So I would travel a lot and work in the Caribbean or Europe or wherever. But I kept every year making my way back to Nicaragua and doing it in a different location, and then leaving for a while. And then the next year I would make my way back, and it just kind of snowballed. I never planned on it. And people ask me all the time, why did you choose Nicaragua? And I always say, I didn't choose Nicaragua, it chose me.
Beautiful. And what would you say are like the 3 non-negotiable practices you have daily in your life?
Yeah.
That keep you committed, or that keep you sort of feeling healthy and whole? What are your 3?
Yeah, my 3 is movement. For sure. I need to not only move to keep my body strong, but move to release, any negative energy or anxious energy. And movement in the form of exercise, but also yoga, surfing, whatever it is. Those are like my top ones here in Nicaragua. Good food.
You in Nicaragua, by the way? Sorry, where I've been there a few times. Where are you? Yeah.
In northern Nicaragua, in north of Chinandega. It's called Aserradores.
Okay. So that near San Juan del Sur area, or?
Well, I'm 6 hours north of San Juan, but I used to live in San Juan, so yes, I know it.
Cool. Amazing.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to ask one question too before we get into everything. Has your retreats been affected by COVID? I assume no one's coming there, right?
Yeah, our borders, like the airlines and our borders are closed still since mid-March. So I've been up here all by myself. I mean, the good thing is in the south, like San Juan del Sur, Popoyo, Playa Colorado, there's a lot of expats that live there, and a lot of them know my work. So I go down there, and I'm a private chef for people as well. I just went to a restaurant in the south and trained some chefs on a vegan menu. So, and my online business has really been booming. So I did some online retreats, which is great too. Hopefully the borders open up in August. That's the rumor, but it was supposed to open up last month. And so we're just kind of waiting here. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt. Okay. So the second and third.
Yeah, so movement, good food, of course. I mean, good food is everything for your nervous system, for digestion, for energy levels. And it's really important for me to support my body to deal with stress and just to move through life. I always tell my clients we're all human. We're going to have things once in a while that aren't necessarily on my, my grace list. And that's okay too, having them a little bit in moderation once in a while is totally fine. But for the most part, I try to eat the best, wholesome, freshest, nourishing, nutrient-dense foods that I can, so that my body works efficiently and works, harmoniously.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what else? What's the third tool or the third tip?
Staying positive and surrounding myself with positive people and information. That's really important, because I really am cognizant of you know, my energy levels. So right now I'm actually here by myself. I have nobody around me, so I don't have any negative people around me. However, I do a lot of work online and I'm on social media a lot. So I have to be mindful to, you know, limit my social media use, because social media is very negative right now, as we know. I do positive affirmations. I read positive books. I listen to positive podcasts. So it's really important for me, like the information that comes into my mind, that it's positive.
Beautiful. And, you know, obviously people have been experiencing a lot of fear in the last 4 months. I know, you know, living in Toronto with kids and work and all the different, like our nervous systems are really, really wired. And a lot of what my clients have been experiencing is what I've labeled as like COVID burnout, but it's a very real thing. Can you touch on fear and the nervous system and how people can start to, you know, without going right now to Nicaragua, God willing, one day. I mean, like, I'm like, when I can get there, I'm there. I want to go 6 hours north to your spot. But right now, while we're home and we can't go anywhere really, we can't even go to the yoga studio right now. You know, what can we, right? We can't here in Toronto. There's no gyms open. There's no yoga studios open. So what can we start to do on a really sort of basic level to start restoring the damage? And I call it damage because the last 4 months have caused a lot of damage to a lot of people's nervous systems. What can they start to do to restore?
Yeah, I mean, we need to be really cognizant of, again, like where we're putting our energy and what kind of energy we're letting affect us. And like the same as my answer itself, you know, I think people need to limit social media because it's very, very negative on there. People, you know, I see a lot of people overreacting on there and trying to fight and people defending themselves. And I think we need to kind of, you know, stop doing that. I think people need to stop watching the news so much. You know, there's a lot of stuff on the news that I personally don't even feel is real. It's dishonest. So, and it causes a lot of fear, and that's a big thing. So I think people need to limit their news at least. And, you know, being really cognizant of not like looking at the news first thing in the morning. Like that's going to set the tone for your day as well and set you into this like heightened state of anxiety. So, there's that. Eating well. I mean, what you put into your body is going to affect how you deal with stress and how you deal with your emotions. Really important, stabilizing your blood sugar, eating foods that help to reduce inflammation, staying away from, you know, the refined sugars and things like gluten, and watching your alcohol use, you know, because I know a lot of people are drinking more in this times. And, you know, really being mindful of what we put into our bodies and seeing that there is a great connection with how our minds are perceiving everything right now. Exercising, you know, like move your body. If you can't go anywhere, like do a home workout, or even better, like go outside. Get, you know, right now I know in Toronto the weather is beautiful, so get some sun, that helps kill a virus, and get some vitamin D and get some fresh air. And at being around positive people, you know, really important. Like we become like the people we're around, so we want to try and keep our vibes, our vibrations as positive as possible in these times.
Thank
You know, and also like learning things like breathing exercises, trying to meditate. I mean, I know meditation can be very difficult, especially when you have a lot of anxiety. So there's lots of different meditations you can do. It's not just like sitting there in stillness and letting your minds take over your mind, letting your thoughts take over your mind. But what about visualization exercises or relaxation exercises? So things that keep your mind occupied and focused, but still helping your mind and your thoughts to slow down. And I love this app called Insight Timer, which is free. And I always recommend to my clients that they do it every night before bed and do something that's, you know, positive before bed so that they have a more restful sleep. And that's another good point. Sleep is so important. And I know it's really can be challenging for people, but just letting the body rest as much as possible, and trying to make an effort to go to bed a little bit earlier so that the body and the mind can rest.
Beautiful. Do you have, I have one last question for you. It's a bit of a heavy one. But
Okay.
I want to know, what do you believe is the purpose of life?
The purpose of life is to go through your own pain and your own traumas. We all have our own things that we need to overcome, and it's being conscious enough and brave and courageous enough to go through the pains and traumas that we need to go through, and then sharing those lessons with the world. And this is how we break, family traumas, generational traumas. This is how I feel we evolve in this lifetime. This is how we reach enlightenment. It's just by being brave to go through down our life journey, and then helping others with the information that we learned.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. So God willing, the world is going through that type of thing right now.
Yeah.
And God willing, if people do the work and they look inside and start to, like you said, go down it versus what a lot of people do, or what you also did for the first many years of your life, which is run from it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We stay stuck. But when we actually remove the emotional numbing agents and we really start to face our life, look where you're at now. It's really quite remarkable. It's been really, really amazing to hear your story, truly. And very, very inspiring. Is there anything else you want to share before we finish up?
Just with the current events, this is an opportunity for us to really learn from our mistakes and what the world has been doing for so many years. And it's an opportunity to evolve. And I really do hope that people awaken to that, because the world needs it right now. We're in a very, kind of crucial and tumultuous time. And I do feel like things can get better, but we need to work on ourselves, A, and B, we need to investigate what is really happening in the world right now as well.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Where can people find you if they want to learn more? I'll send a bunch of resources in at the bottom, but where else can people find you on Instagram?
Yep. Just my name, Grace Van Berkum. If you type that in, you'll come to my Instagram page. Same thing with on Facebook. And then I also have another page I have 2 pages on Facebook. And the second one is Gracious Living Lifestyle. And then I encourage everybody to go to my website, which is my name, gracevanberkum.com. And I do newsletters, and I have tons of free recipes and videos on there as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Grace, for taking the time to be with me today. I really appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Jody. And I hope I see you in Nicaragua one day.
I do too. God willing, in the next 5 years. Okay. Let's just put that out. Let's manifest that. In the next 5 years, I will be with you in Nicaragua.
Okay.
Take care.
Awesome.
Thanks so much.
Okay.